So we have started unit DC machines, unit number 3 in the subject DC machine, electrical machines 1, and we have seen the basic fundamentals about the machines. It, if we consider machine as a two-part equipment, then DC machine will have two different domains. One is the electrical domain and mechanical domain. On electrical domain, the variables are voltage and current, and on mechanical domain, if we consider, then the variables are torque and speed. Okay. So DC generator, if we consider the operation of DC generator, then what it will do, it will convert mechanical energy into electrical energy, and the DC motor will convert exactly opposite way electrical energy into mechanical energy. So it is the function of these machines. Okay. And flow of energy, we have seen that based on the some fundamental laws, it will convert mechanical energy into electrical via magnetic domain. So magnetic field is very much important in between, because that is the medium over which via which we can say the energy conversion takes place. Okay, and then we have seen the simple loop generator in the previous class, elementary generator, where if we take the two conductors and we form a singleton coil, and if we rotate it in a magnetic field set up by electromagnets, let's say, or a permanent magnet, then with one complete rotation of 360 degree here, you can see it will induce one cycle of generated EMF. This is alternating in nature. The magnitude and the direction is changing for this. And remember, here we have used slip rings. Okay, in the slides, these are the slip rings. Slip rings are the copper rings. They are continuous copper rings, you can say, and the brushes are placed at the slip rings. So these brushes will collect the current and the induced EMF over here from the slip rings. And if we see the nature of this induced EMF here, it will be alternating in nature, you can see. Okay, for simple elementary loop generator. Now, instead of the slip ring, we have discussed in the previous class that if I use a commutator segment. So commutator segment are different than the slip rings, where the this one coil side is connected with one commutator segment, and the other coil side is connected with the other commutator segment. Okay, and commutator is free to rotate as this coil will rotate, commutator segment will also rotate. However, the position of the brush will remain fixed. So here we have seen in the previous class that as the coil rotates, finally the polarity of the brushes that it collects the current or the induced EMF from this coil will remain same, and that is why the function of this commutator is that it will make the generated EMF over here in the coil unidirectional. Actually, EMF induced in the coil here is alternating. Okay, if we see the EMF induced here in the coil is alternating, is like this. But due to this commutator action over here, where we collect only the this will always remain positive, this will always remain negative. Okay, and that is why the EMF induced in the coil is, although it is alternating in nature, the EMF that we receive here at the brushes on the commutator segment is unidirectional. Sorry, unidirectional. I hope this point was clear in the previous class, and that is the difference between the machines having slip rings and a commutator. So AC machines they use slip rings, whereas the DC machines have commutator segments. Okay. Why we use commutator segment? Because we are working with the DC machine, so output here of the machines obviously must be a DC. Okay, and that is why we call it as a DC machine. So this is the operation of elementary DC generator. Now let's see the effect of additional turns in the coil. Previously here in the last diagram, if you observe, there is a one singleton coil I have used. Okay, there is only one turn of the coil which is connected with the commutator segment. Now, if I increase the number of turns in the coil like this, okay, what will happen then? If we increase the number of turns in the coil and if the EMF of this coil are connected, they are added in the series, then the magnitude of voltage will increase. Okay, if you see. So what is the effect of additional turns in the coil? That it will increase the magnitude of voltage will increase. Okay. Uh, any doubt about this? हाँ, भले भले. Okay, fine. Now, 1 minute. Now, so the effect of additional turns in the coil is that it will increase the magnitude. Okay. Then effect of additional coil. What difference do you see here? There is only one coil here. Obviously, this coil has, let's say, 4 conductors and this 4 conductor coil size here. So here the number of turns, 4 turns. Okay, but there is one coil only. Okay, whereas here you see here there are 2 commutator segments. Okay, 1 and 2. So this coil sides are connected to 1, this coil sides are connected to 2. And what difference do you see here? We have added additional coils. Okay, so how many coils you see here? There are 2 coils with 4 coil sides, 1, 2, 3 and 4. You can see here. And there are 4 commutator segments, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what will happen? Say previously with the only single coil, the output was like this. Okay, output was like this. But if we add one more coil here, over here, then the output will be like this. They are at 90 degree. So these 2 coils are at right angle to each other. So the EMF induced will be like this. This is the coil number 2, I would say. Okay, coil 2. And this is coil 1. Here, this is coil 1. Okay, then what is output at the brushes? The output at the brushes will be like this because we are collecting it with the brushes. So if I draw the output at the brushes, so output at brushes will be like this. So output will become more smoother. We can say it will be even smooth. If we increase further coils, what will happen? Suppose instead of 2 coils, if we have 4 coils, if we have 4 coils instead of 2 coils, it will be even much smoother. So increasing the number of loops, number of coils here produces smoother output. Okay, any doubt about this? So 2 points we have seen. By increasing number of turns in a coil, the magnitude of the EMF will increase, and by increasing number of coils in the machine, it will give us the smoother output. Voltage will become much smoother. Okay. Now, how the DC machines are being constructed? So this is a front view, you can say cross-sectional view of a DC machine, where there are different types of parts you can observe. So I would write here that there are mainly 2 different parts this machine will have. First is called as the stator, and the second one is called as the rotor. So stator, so the part of the stator are generally field system, are yoke or frame, we can say, feed poles and field winding. This will form the part of the stator. Okay, so here you can see this one is the yoke or frame. The body of the machine. Okay, okay, this one is called as the yoke or frame. Okay, I hope all of you might have seen the motors. Let's say induction motor or any other machine you might have seen. So the frame or the body of the machine is called as the yoke. Okay, we'll see one by one. Then these are the field poles. I'm just showing you this one. In detail, we will see one by one. Okay, and there are winding which is wound over these poles. This one here you can see these are the field winding. So why we called it as a stator? Because this is a stationary part of the machine. It will not rotate. Okay, this will not rotate. Second part here in the machine is rotor. The one which is rotating here. So what does rotor will have? Will have armature core. It will have armature winding. It will have commutator segments, and it will have let's say commutator sorry, brushes and bearings and shaft. Okay, so here this is a shaft, representation of a shaft. Where you know that how the shaft is being represented. So this is a shaft over which there is an armature core. So this one is the core. This one. Okay, and in the core there will be armature winding. So here we place the armature winding in between this one. You see. Okay, all this we'll see in detail. Don't worry. And the ends of the armature winding will be connected to commutator, as we have seen previously that how the coils are connected to the commutator. So the ends of this armature winding will be connected to the commutator segments, and from the commutator we want to collect the current, and that is why brushes are placed on the commutator segments, and we need to rotate this part, entire part. Why? Because our field system is stationary. Whatever flux will induce over here, that will remain stationary. Okay, and that is why to induce an EMF we require a motion between magnetic field and conductor. As the magnetic field is stationary over here, conductor must be rotating, and that is why the armature winding along which is placed in the core, slot provided in the core over here, needs to be rotated, and that is why shaft here will be connected or coupled with either turbine, prime mover, or any other motor, and the conductor will rotate along with the armature core, which is mounted on the shaft. So this forms the rotor part. Okay, entire entire this arrangement is mounted on the shaft, and shaft is coupled with prime mover or turbine or any other motor to rotate the entire this armature. Okay, clear about the parts? These are the commutator segments. So I will show you in detail one by one now. So very first, let us start with, in case if you have any doubt in between, you can ask. Okay. So we'll start with the stator first. So stator here, as you can see, this part is the stator, which is consists of yoke or frame, field poles, and field winding, which actually is the field system of the machine. So what is the function of the field system? So function of the field system is to produce uniform magnetic field in the machine and provide necessary excitation for the operation of the machines. Why we require magnetic field? Because to induce an EMF, we know that we require three things actually. One is the magnetic field. Second one, we require conductor, and third thing we require is the relative motion. Okay, so the magnetic field is developed by this field system of the stator. Okay, and this conductor which will cut the magnetic field, that will be the part of rotor, this arm. Okay, and relative motion will be provided by rotation of the shaft. Okay, so conductor will rotate when the shaft rotates, and it will cut the magnetic field. So it is how the EMF will be induced. So field system produces the uniform magnetic field here, and uh, one of the part here, as you can see, yoke, field poles, and field winding. So yoke or frame, this is the outer part of the machine, and it also acts as a protecting cover for the machine. Okay, and generally in the small machines, because of the cost issues, cost constraints, it is made up of cast iron, and in generally large machine, it is made up of either cast steel or rolled steel. Okay, so it is the body or frame, outermost body of the machine, which covers the entire machine. And now on this yoke, so this is one of the yoke of the machine, you can see here. And generally the feet, you can see here, and the terminal box which is at the top of the machine, generally they are welded here or bolted sometimes. So this feet and terminal box, they are generally welded to the frame of the machine here, and it is ensured that it has a sufficient mechanical strength, because the vibration and other centrifugal forces that will develop. So this need to be very uh, need to have a mechanical strength, and most important part that it should have high permeability. I'll explain this why it is required to have a yoke or frame made up of a material with high permeability. I hope you remember the permeability. Okay, permeability is the property by which how easily it can allow magnetic field to pass through. That is what is called as the permeability of the machine. Okay, so the yoke or frame, that is why we, for small machine we made it from cast iron, and for the large machine we made it from cast steel or rolled steel, which has in fact high permeability. Now on the yoke here, on the yoke frame, generally the field poles are placed. So it houses field poles like this. Here field poles are bolted or welded. So I'll explain it in the any doubt about yoke or frame? It is simply the body of the outer body of the machine. Okay, and the function is to support the poles. So poles will be, we'll see in the next slide. The poles will be generally mounted over the frame. They are generally bolted on the frame, and it also acts as the protecting cover. Next, on the stator, we have field poles and field poles. Okay, so this is frame yoke, you can see here. Okay, and this are the field poles, which are generally electromagnets. Okay, and these field poles are bolted on the yoke or frame. Okay, so field poles are generally electromagnets, and what it is made up of? They are solid pieces of either cast iron or cast steel, and poles are laminated and fastened to poles too. So you can see here. Do you know what is lamination means? Do you know what is lamination means? Anyone? Yes, please reply. Do you know what is lamination? No. Okay. Okay. Let me explain. See, suppose I have a. Let me consider a piece of. Okay. Let me explain. I have a piece of. Let's say this is cast iron. Okay. This is a single piece of cast iron. Okay, which I am using as a pole with this type of arrangement. And what will be the cross sectional area if I use as a single piece, single solid piece? What will be the cross sectional area of this material? Small or large? And instead, what do I do here? Instead of the single solid piece, what do I do here? I cut this into number of small sections, let's say of 1 mm. Okay, this is for example, this is total this is for I am just taking an example is let's say 100 centimeter. Okay, this is 100 centimeter. And instead what I do here, if I take 1 mm, so how many piece I require to make it to 100 centimeter? How many piece I require such 1 mm piece to make it to 100 centimeter? Anyone? Okay, Samir. Anyone else can tell me how many such pieces I require to make it equal to 100 centimeter? 1 centimeter equal to how much millimeter? Correct? 1 millimeter equal to zero point 0.1 centimeter. Fine. Okay. And I want to make 100 centimeter this total. Now you if you can get, yes, correct. It's 1,000. So this is just an example, okay, to understand something which is very important for us. I'm just taking an example. So what do I do? Instead, what I do here is that instead of this 100 centimeter, I take 1,000 such 1 mm pieces. 1 mm. Okay. Thickness. This thickness is 100 centimeter here. Thickness of this piece. And thickness of this piece is only 1 mm. And then I join these 1,000 pieces like here you can see together with insulation in between them. So what do I do? This piece 1 and 2, I put some insulation in between them. Do you understand what I mean to say? One is or any other insulating material, if I put in between two and then I join together them, so it will form again same thickness here, but it is comprised of such different 1 mm laminated pieces. Do you understand? So what difference do you see here? What difference do you see here? It is a simple solid piece here, and instead here, this is made up of small 1 mm pieces joined together and insulated from each other. More importantly, they are insulated from each other. And this piece itself is called as the laminate, thin laminations. This okay. What is advantage? Okay, what is cross-sectional area of this? And what is cross-sectional area of this? This is a large cross-sectional area, so the resistance of this piece will be very less. And what about the cross-sectional area of each lamination? Is quite less, so the resistance of this piece here will be quite large. Just imagine the resistance of a 100 centimeter thick single solid piece and resistance of a 1 mm thin lamination. Obviously, this resistance will be higher, and due to this resistance, as the resistance of the core is higher here, lamination is higher, it will reduce AD current loss. We will see it in detail that how it will reduce the, why eddy current loss will reduce, because the laminations will have higher resistance, and due to that if the resistance is higher, definitely the eddy current will be lower, and that is why the eddy current loss will be less. And this is the primary reason for the pole to be laminated. Understand, these laminations are insulated from each other. If we do not insulate them from each other, there is no meaning of using laminations, because otherwise it will make the same thing. It is otherwise it is a single solid piece if we do not insulate from each other. So here you can see these are the very small. What is the size of these laminations are generally 1 mm to 1.5 mm. You can imagine, and such number of laminations as per the design here. As per the design, the number of laminations here, you can see they are joined together with insulation with proper insulation in between them. So this will form the pole core. Okay. Now, do you understand the meaning of laminations? So cast iron or cast steel material of a size of 1.1 mm to 1.5 mm thickness, and many such laminations, they are just stick together here with proper insulation in between them. It will be more clear when you actually see the machine. Okay, you can easily visualize this when you see the machine. Okay, fine. Is it clear what is the meaning of the laminations? It is the very small thin pieces of the material. Okay. Then this is a pole. Uh, Obviously, it is a ferromagnetic material. You can see cast iron or cast steel made up of thin laminations, and generally it is bolted on the yoke frame. So this pole here, this is the pole. It's made up of thin laminations. You can see here is generally bolted over the yoke on the machine, body of the machine. Okay, and if you see the design of the pole, so pole face, this is the pole face. You can see has a different setup. which has a large area compared to the other part of the pole, which is called as the pole shoe. So this part here, this part, if you see here, this is called as the pole shoe. Okay. Why the size design of the pole shoe is like this? So what is the function of this entire system? Is to generate the magnetic field. Okay. This magnetic field will pass a link with the rotor that will cross the air gap. So there is an air gap between stator and rotor in the machine. Now we know if air gap is large, the reluctance will be more, and that is why if the reluctance is more, the flux that will pass through the stator to rotor, that will be less. Clear? Let me show you. Here there is an air gap between stator and rotor. Obviously this air gap will be in few mm. So whatever flux that is generated by field poles here, the field system, that has to pass through the air gap and to link with the rotor like this. Sorry, it is a 4 pole. Okay. It has to link with the rotor. Here you can see. So it has to pass through the air gap. And we know the air gap has high reluctance compared to the other magnetic material. If you compare, let's say cast steel or cast iron, silicon steel. Okay. So they have the permeability of the air that we consider is 1, whereas the permeability of the other magnetic materials are quite high. Let's say if we say permeability of the magnetic material is 1000, that means it is 1000 times easier to establish the magnetic field in the material in comparison to the air. Okay. So what will this shape do? It will increase the cross sectional area over here. Okay, so very first is that it will spread the flux uniform in the air gap. Secondly, it will also reduce the reluctance of the magnetic path. It will also reduce the reluctance of magnetic path. Let me show you how this will happen. 1 minute. Okay, so suppose here this is a rotor. Okay, and I am taking two types of the construction. One with the without pole shoe. Okay, without pole shoe, normal pole face, and second one is with the pole shoe, like this, and this is the okay and LS. Now what do you think, where do you find the air gap is minimum between stator and rotor? Here or here? See, here the flux distribution will be like this, and here the flux distribution will be like this. Okay, where do you find the air gap is minimum, with this design or with this design? One or two? And more uniform flux distribution? Obviously with V2, and that is why the shape of the pole shoe is like this. We have made it like this so that it will have the minimum air gap, it will reduce the reluctance of the path between this stator and rotor, and secondly the flux will be distributed uniformly over the surface of the rotor. Okay, so is it clear? Is it fine why the pole shoe has this shape? It will spread the flux in the air gap. Generally, we keep the shape of the pole shoe with the large cross-sectional area. It will reduce the reluctance of the magnetic path. And one more important point, that it supports field coils. So it will spread flux uniform, I would say here, uniform flux in the air gap. And third and the last function is it supports field coils. Okay, so let me go back again. Now over the pole, what do we wound? We wound the field coils. So this is the coil which is wound over here. Okay, and this is the coil which is wound over here. In which case do you find that the field coil has a more support mechanical strength? Where do you find there is a less chances of slipping of this field coil from the pole? Obviously with the two, because here it has a support. Field coils has a support due to the shape. So field coils will not slip out of the pole face. Or otherwise here there is a chance, let's say if there is a large vibrations and the field coils are not wound properly over here, it may happen that these field coils may slip out of the pole surface from here. That will not happen over here, because here the pole shoe, the shape of the pole shoe with the large cross sectional area will support the field coils better. So I hope this is clear that what are the functions of the pole shoe. Okay. Then comes the feed coils or pole coils. So here over the you can see these are the thin laminations. They are stemmed together with proper insulation in between them. Okay. Okay, Shamik. Okay, let me explain. देखो ये पोल शू है. पोल शू का शेप कैसे है यहाँ पे, लाइक दिस. ठीक है. अगर हम ऐसा शेप रखेंगे लाइक दिस सिंपली, और दूसरा जो शेप है वो ऐसा है लाइक दिस. ठीक है. ये दोनों में डिफरेंस पता चला. शमिक, क्विकली रिप्लाई. हाँ, यहाँ पे सरफेस एरिया क्या है, हमने बढ़ा दिया है पोल का. ओके, सो इससे क्या एडवांटेज होगा. एक तो यहाँ पे जो एयर गैप होगा स्टेटर और रोटर के बीच में, वो एयर गैप हो जाएगा मिनिमम इसके कंपैरिजन में. ठीक है. तो एयर गैप मिनिमम होगा तो रिलक्टेंस क्या हो जाएगा, कम हो जाएगा. तो फ्लक्स यहाँ से बेटर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होगा स्टेटर से रोटर तक. तो फ्लक्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन क्या हो जाएगा, एक तो यूनिफॉर्म हो जाएगा लाइक दिस. ठीक है. और दूसरा, ये पोल पे क्या आएगा, फील्ड वाइंडिंग आएगी. फील्ड वाइंडिंग अभी मैं समझाऊंगा नेक्स्ट. यहाँ पे हम वाइंडिंग बाउंड करेंगे इसके ऊपर. ठीक है. ये है वन, ये है टू. तो यहाँ पे चांसेस क्या है, अगर ज्यादा वाइब्रेशन है मशीन्स में या, तो ये फील्ड वाइंडिंग यहाँ से स्लिप हो सकती है. यहाँ पे क्या हो जाएगा, ये पोल शू का एरिया हमने ज्यादा रखा है तो ये वाइंडिंग को सपोर्ट मिल जाएगा यहाँ से. तो वाइंडिंग स्लिप होने का चांस है पोल पे से कि नहीं है. हाँ, दैट इज वाई इट प्रोवाइड्स सपोर्ट टू द फील्ड कोil. फील्ड कोल्स को सपोर्ट मिल जाएगा ना ये शेप की वजह से यहाँ. And that is why it has a better support to the field coil because of the large section. That is why the pole shoe is designed with a large section cross-sectional area over here at the pole surface. Okay. Okay. And then then field coils, third one. Okay. So let me clear everything. Field coils or pole coils, if we say, now these are electromagnets. Okay, made up of cast steel or cast iron with thin laminations that are stemmed together with insulated from each other. Okay, generally varnish material is used. Uh, they are dipped into varnish and then they are stemmed together like see here with the rivets. You can see. Okay, they are stemmed together and finally they are bolted over the yoke here like this. Okay. Now electromagnet. When the electromagnet will generate magnetic field, what is required for electromagnet to generate the magnetic field? current. Exactly, we have to wound a coil over here over the electromagnet, and then we have to pass current through the coil, and that is what is the field coil. Why we require field coils here? So what do we do here? We wound the coil over the poles. Okay, so the coils are wound like this over the poles. Obviously there are two poles, upper even poles, maybe 2, 4, 6, 8, any number of poles. So the field winding is divided into two parts. Half of the field winding, let's say if I say we have a two pole machine, just I'm just giving an example to you. So suppose if we have a two pole machine, N pole and S pole, so we have to wound this field winding. Half of the field winding will be wound over N pole and continuous. This is a continuous coil, and it is wound on the S pole, and then it is connected with the DC supply. So when we pass the current through this coil, we have wound this coil in such a way that this opposite pole, this poles, upper and lower pole, will act in the opposite polarity. So this will form N pole. It is obvious depending upon the direction of current. Okay, you can apply right hand thumb rule. So to make this N pole, what will be the in which manner we have to wound the coil, that is you can find easily. Similarly, here we want to make it as a S pole. So the turns that are wound over here, we need to take care that it should be opposite to this. So this will form N pole, this will form S pole when the current will pass through this coil, and this coil is nothing, is the field coil. Copper coil, which is a continuous coil and connected to the DC excitation. So when the current is passed through this field coil wound over the field pole here, it will produce the magnetic field, which will be steady state, stationary. Why it is stationary? Because here we have connected DC supply. So the current through the coil will remain in the same direction, and that is why this will always act N pole. Suppose if you are wound in such a way that this will always act N pole, then this will always act as the S pole. So the flux direction will remain same in the machine. This is about the field coils or field winding. Okay, made up of the copper. Obviously, the coil is made up of the copper wire, and it is put over the field poles. Okay, when the current is passed through the coil, flux will be established in the coil. Understand? Any doubt? Any doubt about this? So this will form the stator part of the machine. So stator part, uh, it has yoke or frame. Okay, let me show you. Okay, on stator part, it has a yoke or 1 minute. Let me remove all this first. Okay, so stator part we have completed here. That stator has yoke or frame first, which is the uh, body of the machine. What is the function of the yoke or frame? First is to protect the entire machine. Okay. Secondly, to house, to support the poles. So field poles are generally, here it is a 4 pole, you can see. Okay. So field poles are generally bolted to the yoke or frame. You can see here 4 pole machine. Okay. About this interpole, I will discuss later on. Don't worry. This poles are made up of thin laminations, either cast steel or cast iron, and them together they are bolted over the frame. Poles are generally electromagnets, and the pole face here is generally made with the large cross sectional area that we call as the pole shoe. Here you can see. So that will serve two purpose. It will uniformly distribute the magnetic field, and secondly, it will reduce the reluctance between the stator and rotor. Air gap will be minimum due to this. Additionally, it will also provide support to the field winding. So these are the field windings here you can see. Field winding is a continuous winding, okay, wound in such a way that the poles will act as a N or S pole depending upon the requirement. So how the flux will be distributed here in the machine, if I explain. So when the current is passed, see this entire winding, if I show you, this entire winding will be let's say here it is positive. Then number of turns are wound over this pole like this. Then it is wound over here on this pole. Then it is wound over here on this pole, and it is wound over here on this pole, and then it is taken out and minus. So this is how the field winding is wound. It is a continuous winding wound in such a way that here we have four poles. So nearby poles will act as the opposite pole when the current is passed through the coil. So when we pass current through this field coils, it will develop flux like this, and flux will complete its path through the frame or yoke. So yoke is also a part of magnetic circuit, remember, because the flux will be set up through the yoke. And now, say like this here, okay. Similarly, it is a four pole. So I'm just showing one single flux lines. Okay, here there will be multiple flux lines depending upon the design. Okay. So this is the flux path you can see when the current is passed through the coil. This is how the flux number of flux lines. Okay, I'm just showing one single flux line over here, and as the flux path is completed through the frame or yoke, I would say it has to be made up of high permeability, so that the magnetomotive force required, MMF required to establish the magnetic field here in the core, we require less. Is it clear? Why the core frame or yoke has to be made with the high permeability? Because it is also a part of magnetic circuit here in the machine. Okay, and this is the stator. Here we have completed the stator part of the machine. Second comes rotor. Now let us move to the rotor part, the part which will rotate. So rotor, one of the important part on the rotor side is the armature core. Now, as the magnetic field is stationary, here you can see magnetic field is stationary because current through the coil will never reverse. So these poles will remain as it is. We need to rotate the conductor. So the conductors are placed in the armature core. Armature core, this is the armature core. Here you can see which houses the armature conductor. So conductors are placed over here in the slots on the outer periphery. Okay, coils you can see here like this. Here we will place the armature conductors in the slots. Okay, like this. Okay, this one, or here this one you can see. So it houses the armature conductors or coils, and goes to rotate them by external means and cut the magnetic field. So here this armature core is mounted on the shaft. This is a shaft you can see here. Okay, this is a shaft. So on the shaft, through the bearings, the shaft will be rotated and armature core is mounted over the shaft. And it is generally cylindrical or drum shaped, circular sheet, steel, disc or laminations to stuff. So again, this is a laminated you can see here, like thin laminations. This is a one, then small thin laminations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like number of laminations you can see, and they are stamped together. obviously insulated from each other. Okay. Then slots are, so what is, let's say if we have a, this is a thin lamination. Okay. Then the slots are cut on the outer periphery like this here. This here. These are the slots. Okay. Slots are die cut or punched in the outer periphery generally, and keyway is located on inner diameter. Okay. Laminations are generally perforated for air ducts for axial flow of air or for cooling. So here you can see there are ducts provided, holes in fact, throughout this. Okay, these are the ducts you can see. It is continuously over here throughout the body. So you can see the ducts. So generally these ducts are provided for the cooling. Okay, because there will be large heat generated in the armature. We will see this later on, that why the heat will be generated in the armature core. So generally these ducts are provided for the axial flow of the air, so that there will be natural cooling for the machine. And the core is made up of the thin laminations to reduce the eddy current loss. As I have said, is the cross-sectional area of the core. Let's say if I use a cylindrical drum like this of a specific centimeter, and instead if I use thin laminations of this, obviously with the slots at the outer periphery, and if I stamp them together with insulation in between these two, obviously the resistance of each lamination will be quite higher, and that will reduce the eddy current that will generate in the armature core here. Okay, so armature core is the one which will house the armature conductor. So we will place our winding or coil in the slots on the outer periphery of the core, you can see. Okay, and made up of thin laminations again. Uh, it is also made up of high permeability material, because it has to pass the, this core has to pass the magnetic flux. Okay, so made up of high permeability material like this here. Whatever flux that will develop by the field poles here, that should link maximum with the core, pass through the core, because why, if it pass through the core it will cut the conductor. So the core is made up of high permeability material. It should offer a very low reluctance to the magnetic field, so the maximum flux that is developed by the poles will pass through the core. Okay, any doubt about this here? So this is the core, this one, the one which I am right now highlighting. Okay, and these are the slots on the outer periphery of the core, you can see like this. There are different types of these slots that are generally available in the machine depending upon the ratings and size and everything. Okay, so this is called as the teeth, and the unslotted part, teeth is unslotted part, and the this is called as the slot. Okay, so this is teeth, this is slot, and in this slot we put the armature conductors. Okay, clear? Any doubt about this, about the armature core, which is a part of rotor? So there are few more parts still remaining: armature winding, commutator, bearings, shaft. So that will continue in the next class. Okay. Uh, all students are requested to enter your enrollment number or roll number. D2D students enter roll number. Other regular students enter your enrollment number. If you have any doubt, we can discuss. Meanwhile, those students who have entered the roll number can leave the class. Okay, the time is over. Have a good day. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so with this, I'll end this session.